Okay, girlfriend, if the guy you've been seeing for a while all of a sudden just poof, ghosted you out of nowhere, and now you're like, how do I save this? I will tell you word for word what to say to him, but you gotta promise me first, like pinky promise, that you only say this once, okay?
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another session with the older man. Today, my friends, we're going to talk about how silence is one of the best clapbacks, weapons, or simply one of the best ways to actually control a situation that has gotten outside of your control. And the reason why I'm bringing up this particular subject is for this gentleman who called me over the weekend and his girlfriend cheated on him. Now, they've been seeing each other for over 5 years, and she stepped out. And he knows for a fact that she cheated. He said, listen, I got undeniable proof, and I don't know what to do. What would you suggest? And I just said, nothing. I said, if you have undeniable truth, if you have undeniable evidence, and he said, yes, I do. I got the text messages, I got everything. And I said, well, do nothing. I said, are you guys invested with each other? Meaning, do you have bank accounts that are together? Do you have any financial issues that are intertwined? He said, no. I said, are you living together? No. I said, so what kind of relationship is it? He said, well, we've just been committed to each other and we've been together for almost 5 years and everything has been what I thought was good up until this point. But then this happened. I said, when did this happen? He said, 3 days ago. I said, have you contacted her? And he said, no. He said, I'm angry. I don't know what I'm going to do or what I'm going to say. And I've been following your content for a while. And I just figured I would call and talk to an older man on this issue. So, my friends, before we go on and before we get into this particular subject, subscribe. Like this video. This is going to be a good one. I am sure this is information that's going to help a lot of you. I am positive that a lot of you ladies are not going to agree with me on this issue. But gentlemen, I am positive that it's going to enlighten your brain because it's going to teach you how to deal with female behavior. But what the ladies should learn from this particular incident is that you can actually do the same thing if the man steps out on you. It works both ways. The only difference is it doesn't impact men as much as it impacts women. And I'll explain the reason why in this particular video. Okay, so guys, pick up my Content Creators Toolkit. Get your content out there, my friends. My goal is to help each and every single one of you create something different. All right, this isn't just about me. This channel is here for you guys to grow. That's my goal. So please take advantage of all the information I'm bringing to you, not only in the videos, but if you check the description of each and every one of my videos, there's a long list of stuff that won't cost you anything that you can utilize, whether it's stuff that I use to create my videos or AI prompts to help you create content. I'm giving you a lot of free information. And of course, if you want to take it one step further, you can invest in one of my digital products or buy some merch. Okay? It's totally up to you guys. So in today's environment, this idea of cutting someone off is what women came up with this idea. It's called ghosting. Of course, this is a word that's been devised by women, right? But the reason why it has such a label on it is because women don't like ghosts. But here's the reason why you should actually just cut her off completely. But not just physically, but verbally as well. So what if I told you that the most powerful way to handle betrayal in a relationship is to actually go silent, is to do nothing, absolutely nothing. Because that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. You have to ignore the urge to actually lash out. Because that's what women want you to do. They want you to respond because that's where they're at an advantage. They can use all of their verbal gymnastics against you in order to keep you engaged, excited, because that's what makes them excited. So you have to understand that once you actually step into their realm, you are at a disadvantage. And you know what? There are tons of videos on TikTok talking about how to defend yourself against men who ghost you. And of course, shaming men for ghosting you because it literally destroys women. Because what it does is it eliminates their most powerful weapon, their tongue. if they don't have a chance to lie, to manipulate, to gaslight, to skew information, to blame you for the reason why they did something bad, if they don't have that in their head, they have nothing. So what you do, my friends, is you cut her off completely. And in turn, her brain is now forced to focus on her bad behavior, not you, because you haven't said anything, you haven't done anything. Her brain now has to make up the information that is missing because you're not providing that for her. Because I can guarantee you, my friend, it doesn't matter what you say. She will redirect it and misdirect it and turn it and twist it so that it favors her brain and her sensibility to make her feel good about herself. Because the opposite is too painful for her to deal with, to admit. Because in her head, she is good. So it has to be your fault. So just listen to this woman talk about ghosting.
Okay, girlfriend, if the guy you've been seeing for a while all of a sudden just poof, ghosted you out of nowhere, and now you're like, how do I save this? I will tell you word for word what to say to him, but you got to promise me first, like pinky promise, that you only say this once, okay? This is not a 2 or 3 chance type of thing, okay? So first things first, don't accuse him over text. Don't be like, why haven't I heard from you? Instead, say, hey, haven't heard from you in a while. Just want to make sure you're still alive, and add a winky face. Because from there, he's going to tell you what he thinks. He's either going to gaslight you and give you an excuse, or he's going to apologize and ask you out. Follow my account for more dating tips, though, and good luck.
So one thing she's failed to deal with, and this is one of the problems I find with listening to online information. Everybody speaks in these general terms, right? And it's impossible to apply every situation to every single person. But of course, there are certain instances where the statement is broad enough to actually encompass a gender, for example. Because I can make a statement like, yeah, in general, men are stronger physically than women. In general, women are more emotional based than men are. In general, women tend to respond in a verbal way rather than physical because that is her super weapon. That is her primary weapon. Whereas men, when confronting each other, will respond physically. So I can make these general statements. It would be truthful. When it comes to relationships, there are quite a few different variables when you make certain broad statements. You need to look at what type of relationship that you're in, how old you are, what's the age gap in the relationship. When I say type of relationship, are you in the beginning stages of a relationship, 1 or 2 dates, versus you've been seeing each other for 6 months, you've had sexual encounters, you've been very intimate with each other. There's certain promises and commitments that have been made between you two. Are you guys engaged with promise to be married? Are you guys actually married? How long you been married? So all of these variables will determine how you treat a person in a relationship, how deeply ingrained you are financially together, and or emotionally ingrained with each other. Because these different variables in the relationship will determine if you ghost a person versus if you stop talking or if you go to therapy together, etc., etc., etc. Or if you call an older man and ask for his opinion based on his life experience, etc. They are variables that should be considered. So in this particular case, I am talking to the people who are in relationships. They're not married. They are in relationships. If you are in a relationship where there's no legal binding contract between you two, ghosting or cutting off communication cold and hard, if the woman has stepped out of the boundaries or outside of your agreement with her, then you know, my friend, that it's not going to go anywhere further. As a smart man in a later year of your life, I'm talking about anywhere between the ages of 29 and up, you would never marry a woman who, in the dating stage of your relationship and I'm talking about where you guys have both committed to only seeing each other, if that woman steps out of those boundaries and cheated, for example, you would never marry that freaking woman. You would be an idiot if you think that woman is going to change. Because what you all have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that a relationship is a preview of what your marriage is going to be like. Because in the first part of a relationship, you all are on your best behavior. You are not even seeing the real person. You're both still pretending to be this amazing people. You're not farting in front of each other. You're not you're polite, you're nice, you're good. So if at some point you see the dark side of a person at the beginning of your relationship, don't ever think it's going to get better when you're married. Do not ever think that, please.
If a man is ghosting you and you are going crazy, dear God, please, please do this. When a man ghosts you, as a female, we have an urge for some reason, something's telling us inside that we need to tell them that we saw something. We saw something with them, or we thought that they led us on, and we want an explanation. That voice is going to make us want to text him, call him, have any sort of context with him so that we can have some sort of knowledge or explanation for all of this. But no answer is an answer. No response is a big response. Let that sink in.
Yeah, no response is a response. But she don't like that response. Trust me. Now she's going to try to guilt you into responding to her, because once you respond to her, my friend, you are going to be in an emotional state. And there's nothing a woman loves to see that when she pushes her man into an emotional state. Because when he's in his emotional state, guess what? And guess who wins? A woman lives in her emotional state. A man doesn't. You think that you're going to win with her when you are in her ball game? You're playing her game. That's why the silence is essential, my friend. Because if you communicate with her in that emotional state, she is going to roll over your ass. I want you to think about this, gentlemen. You ever have an argument with your wife, right? Because I can tell you this happened to me, and you're wound up. She got you wound up. It's freaking, and you're arguing back and forth. And usually the argument does not come to a conclusion. It just stops because both of you are just freaking going at each other. Fine. And you go each other's way. And when you calm down, you always think to yourself, shit, I should have said this, when she said that, I should have said this, and I didn't. Because you were freaking emotional. You were in your emotional state. You did not have your logical brain on. But she operates in that state constantly. She's able to throw shit at you left, right, and center. At that moment, in your brain, thought it made sense. You thought it made freaking sense. It didn't make any freaking sense. And only when you've calmed down and your logic kicked in, you now want to go back to her to say, well, when you said this, I should have said, and she's going, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Don't leave me alone. Leave me alone. You're an asshole. So now she do not want to communicate with you when you are in your logical state, because she knows she will lose. That's just to show you why you don't want to be texting or communicating with her, especially when you know she's done something horribly wrong, especially when you know that you will not be able to forgive her for it. Let her deal with that problem in her head. Occupy yourself with something else, my friend. Go to the gym 5 times a day if you have to. Go watch a movie whenever you freaking have a problem. Play video games. Work extra hours. Take your mind off of her. Because as time goes by, you will slowly get used to not having the problem in your head. But for her, she has to live with that. That's killing her on the side. Because she knows she screwed up. But you got to literally block her. That means eliminate her telephone number, her email, her socials, every single thing. I mean, you got to go cold as shit. Just short of knocking on your freaking door or coming to your workplace, because that's the only way she'll be able to get in touch with you. That's how cold you have to go, my friend. Because if you're not going to take the relationship to an ultimate conclusion of marriage, and she's showing her true colors, what's the sense? Seriously, what's the sense? You're just going to be wasting your time with a woman that you're never going to freaking marry or do anything with after this, because she committed the ultimate sin. So if you think about it logically, my friend, you have no reason to freaking communicate with her.
Of course, it's normal to feel like you're not good enough and you want that validation from someone, but we need to ask ourselves, why are we letting one single man upset us that much? One single man when there are billions and millions of men on this earth. We all have a choice, And that man had a choice. He had a choice to either explain to you that he is going to go ghost, that something's happening in his life, that you are not the one. Whatever that reason may be for his ghosting, he had a choice to tell you that and be a man. But he chose that easy way out. He chose to just ghost you and never respond.
Listen, once again, we have to look at conditions. We have to look at circumstances when it comes to males and females. Number one, men do not get the opportunities to meet good women unless he's a Chad. I wouldn't even say good woman. I'm talking about women, period. Unless he's 6'4", square jaw, six pack, he got a shitload of money, etc. Those are the only men that can ghost good women. Okay? Your average man don't have the opportunity to ghost women and think that he's just going to jump onto a next woman. The only reason most men ghost women and that have not done anything is because she has done something wrong. But if you have been dating a guy and you've been a good woman, no cheating, because most of the time a man can deal with anything else except cheating, where he would want to ghost you. Yes, you might be argumentative, but most men don't have a problem coming and say, listen, man, I can't deal with your freaking, you're just too much. I can't deal with it. Most men don't have a problem telling you that. And ladies, listen, I'm talking about the guy that has been seeing you for more than freaking 2 dates. Not the damn guy that you found on Tinder that you have been talking to over text, because it seems like that's how dating is done these days. People define dating as someone they haven't even freaking met physically. Someone that they met on Tinder for freaking 2 days and they have been texting back and forth to see if they're compatible. And then the guy realized, oh shit, I just saw her OnlyFans, or I saw how she's been advertising herself on Instagram. I don't like the look. I'm not even going to bother with that. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking to the people who have actually found someone and they have both committed to some level of a relationship, meaning coming together. Men don't ghost those women. And if you ladies are butthurt about the guy that you met on freaking Tinder or Bumble and you have been talking for a couple of days, haven't even seen each other, haven't been on one date, or even if it's one date and you had sex once or twice and you think that's your man and then he ghosts you, get a life. Seriously, get a life. Because you do that to men all the time. Oh, his dick wasn't big enough. Oh, I didn't like his smell. Oh, I didn't do this. He didn't pay for that. Oh, he didn't lie. I don't like how he chew. You women do it to men constantly. To the point now men don't even expect most women to even freaking call them back after the first date. Rarely. But gentlemen, this burns women a lot more than it will burn you.
If a man ghosted you, congratulations, because you are a very lucky woman. Hear me out. First of all, let's get into the reasons why men ghost. The most likely reason, he's seeing someone else. But it could also be he got what he wanted from you and he lost interest. He has commitment issues and he got scared. You asserted your boundaries and he didn't like it. He has abandonment issues and wanted to leave before he got left. He's not serious about you but wants to try to leave the door a tiny crack open in case he wants to come back. It could be any of these things. It could be none of these things. But the actual answer is it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, a man who is serious about you and who truly wants a future with you will not ghost you.
Thank you. Will not ghost you. At least she saw that part. Listen, some of the reasons she gave of why men would ghost you are a little far-fetched, but like I said, it all depends on the stage at which the relationship has reached. But most of what she's mentioned are the beginning stages of getting to know someone. Because nowadays, everybody's disposable. But if you listen to her again, she's only described traits that Chads are capable of doing, not average men. He's found someone else. How many men out there, you know, 1 or 2 or even 3 women on the go at one time in rotation? Very, very, very few. It's rare.
I know being ghosted is an ego blow that can send you into a spiral of overthinking and feeling unworthy, but I really need you to believe me when I say this man's behavior says nothing about your value and everything about his character and how he handles difficult situations, which is, by the way, in a manner that's selfish, disrespectful, emotionally immature, and probably driven by deep-rooted wounds and insecurities.
Yeah. She will name and shame all of these things that the man would do, but women do this all the time. So she's projecting here. Rarely men make an emotional move like this. And the only reason he should do it, I'm telling you, gentlemen, the only reason you should do something like this is when she has done something that's unthinkable. Steal from you, cheated on you. Otherwise, everything else should be discussed. STD, talk about that shit. Her being belligerent and narcissistic, talk about it. But when she does something that is unthinkable, yeah, it's time to cut the communication off, because you know that those two things that I mentioned, the relationship can't go any further. It's impossible. Cannot.
My love, your feelings of hurt are valid and definitely take the time you need to grieve. But please hear me when I say that you need to make self-love your top priority right now, so you can see clearly that you didn't lose anything in this situation besides a man who was disrespectful, unreliable, and damaging to your mental health. It's not a loss. It's a win, especially because you weren't going to let him go yourself. And by the way, when you feel ready, send that man who ghosted you some genuine love from a distance, because only hurt people hurt people.
So what you're seeing clearly displayed here is that women are deeply affected by men who go silent. That's all a ghost is, silent. I'm not saying to cut a woman off because, I've been out with her a few times and I really don't want to tell her I don't want to see her again. That's some childish shit, dude. Men basically will just pick up hey, Maria, listen, I'm just not feeling this relationship and I don't think we should take it any further. Simple. More than likely, she feels it as well. Because you would have probably given some signs before, or she would have given some signs. You would have seen the rift where you're not fitting together. It's just, this is happening constantly, just butting heads. And at some point, you'll both realize it. So whether you say it or whether she says it, that's usually what would happen. You would say, I don't see this happening, man. Just say, hey, I don't think this relationship is going to work out. We tried it. I don't think, and I can see that you see it as well. Always give her that out. Yeah, I saw it, but I just don't think we should take it any further. I wish you well, and I hope you have success with your next relationship. Okay, take care of yourself. Bye. Boom, done. There's no need to ghost. All right. So guys, listen, I just thought I would share this bit with you today because, gentlemen, you got to know when to use the appropriate weapons, techniques, strategies in order to combat female behavior. All right. So my friends, like this video, please, before you leave, subscribe if you haven't, book a session if you like to talk to me. So until next time, my friends, remember, whenever in doubt, always, always ask an older man. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.